In this video, I will try to explain to you how to solve a question from the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate exam step by step in a way where you can understand even if you don't know anything about IT, and tell you important strategies you can use for any questions, no matter the topic or complexity. So this is the question that we have today. Take a look at it and see if you can solve it by yourself before we start. Okay, so the first step in solving any questions, no matter the complexity or topic, is to find out exactly what it's asking and analyze any given information it may provide. By reading the first sentence of the question, we can see the background that the question is based on, collecting data from multiple separated points. Now, don't get sidetracked by wordings like temperature, humidity, and atmospheric pressure. That's just a bunch of padding information that does not contribute to the core purpose of the question at all. By reading the second sentence, we can get a gauge for how much data is being collected, 500 gigabytes per day. From the third sentence, we can infer that we do not have to worry about bandwidth problems, since each site has a high-speed internet connection. So this first paragraph together tells us the backbone of the question, or in other words, what the question is going to be based on. The second paragraph of the question now tells us exactly what it's asking for, with the first sentence stating that it wants to collect all data into one central storage location, or in this case, a S3 bucket, as quickly as possible. The second sentence then states that it wants to find the least complex way to achieve this. So now that we are done reading the question and analyzing all of its information, let's piece all of that information together and see what we get. So the given of the question is that we collect 500 gigabytes of data from multiple separated points daily, and that we do not have to worry about bandwidth. Now let's look at the question. Figure out a way to collect data into a single S3 bucket as fast as possible using the least complex solution. Let's now look at the options of the question. Option A uses S3 transfer acceleration, which from its name, you can infer that it can be used to speed up transfer speeds. Therefore, it agrees with the as fast as possible part of the question. This option also directly uploads data to the destination S3 bucket. Therefore, it also qualifies for the collect data into a single S3 bucket part of the question, while being fast due to us not having to worry about bandwidth. This tells us that this option qualifies as the correct answer, but we cannot choose it yet because we need to check the other options to see if this is the most operationally efficient method. By just briefly looking at option B, we can tell that it is not as operationally efficient as option A due to needing 3 steps to complete compared to the 2 steps for option A. So even if this option qualifies for a correct answer, it will be beaten out by option A. Therefore, we can save a bit of time by just eliminating it. This method of elimination is a very good way to save time on the exam, which is something you will need to do due to the tight time restrictions of the exam. We can use the same logic to eliminate option D, since this option has even more steps than option B, though this option does introduce the concept of block storage and snapshots, both of which are critical knowledge points you will need to know for this exam, even though they can be skipped over for this specific question, and both of which I have videos for in my channel explaining them in quick details. Link can be found in the description. Let's move on to option C, and just by reading the first few words, we can eliminate this option since it makes use of AWS Snowball, which, for those who don't know, works by storing the data on a physical disk and having that disk be delivered to you. Though this method is good, very good for the transport of data in the scale of terabytes and even petabytes. It is a very inefficient and slow way to transport data in the gigabyte scale because you are physically transporting the disk by while transporting methods that can usually sometimes take many business days. Now we can safely select option A as our final answer, since we are now sure there are no other options available that can complete the task in a less complex manner. Now click on the playlist on the left if you want to see more questions from this exam answered like this, or click on the playlist on the right if you want to learn about the basic critical knowledge points needed to understand keywords in this exam. Subscribe for more.